Welcome to the Power of Music podcast, brought to you by JM International. Get ready to explore conversations with those making a difference through music.
Hello, and welcome to the Power of Music podcast, brought to you by JMI, Jeunesse Musicale International, the global network of NGOs that empowers young people through music across all boundaries. In this episode, we delve into Cyprus' unique position between three continents and explore the Euro-Arab Youth Music Center. We discuss the importance of intercultural dialogue and exchange and the significant role music plays in this process. We also take a deep dive into the institutional makeup of JMI, examining the challenges of managing such a diverse and expansive organization. Additionally, we discuss the experience of being a one-man band as a cultural organizer, and of course, the power of music. My name is Ricardo, and today I'm joined by Nenad Bogdanovic, the Executive Director of the Euro-Arab Youth Music Center, Planning and Development Coordinator at the Organization for European Programs and Cultural Relations, and the President of JMI. Nenad brings a wealth of experience and insight into the conversation about how music can bridge cultures and support young people globally. As always, if you enjoy our content, don't forget to subscribe, like, and rate the podcast. We hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you so much for joining me today for the podcast. Maybe first, can you share a bit about your journey into music?
As many kids during 1980s in that time Yugoslavia, I started music lessons when I was 9 years old. I used to play accordion in the city of Kragujevac. We have a very famous classical accordion school, but due to lack of tertiary education, we had to leave our country. So during 90s, I moved to Kiev, to Ukraine. I studied accordion, baton accordion called Bayan in Kiev National Music Academy, where I met my wife. She's from Cyprus. So we both moved to Cyprus beginning of 2000. And I used to be a music teacher, freelancer, musician, band member, even some recording projects, as anyone who is freelancing, underemployed, as how we say today, changing hats in the field of music. But certainly I always had an interest in civil society, in democratic engagement and processes. So detecting Jeunesse Musicale International network, and by finding out that there is no such organization in Cyprus in 2004, with a group of young musicians, we established an association called Jeunesse Musicale Cyprus. So this is how we ended up. And a number of projects like Ethno, which was implemented for the first time in Cyprus in 2005, with participants from the Middle East. So we had this regional context. It gave us an impetus, further work and further engagement and collaboration with JMI family, of course, with the existing section, but also through an institutional collaboration with Arab Academy of Music and the cultural movement Epilogi from Limassol, the city I live in, Cyprus. We established the Euro-Arab Youth Music Center. Direct cause for establishing the Euro-Arab Youth Music Center was a grant from the European Union for a project called Euro-Mediterranean Youth Music Dialogues that was implemented in 2011 and 2012. So we thought, after finishing the festivals, youth music expos, capacity building activities, Ethno in Jordan, first time, that we should be collaborating further. So JMI, Jeunesse Musicale Cyprus, Epilogi, and Arab Academy of Music of the Arab League created a joint entity, non-profit, dedicated firstly to youth in music and particularly geographically targeting European and Arab region. It still exists in Limassol and still is an active part of the ecosystem of JMI.
And what do you think is the most important in these kind of cultural exchanges?
In our opinion, Europe and Arab nations Arab-speaking nations have a lot of common history. We are neighboring regions in a global perspective. Despite the wars, crusades, conquest, there is a solid background since ancient times, Greek and Roman philosophy that was preserved during the golden Islamic era in the region of Middle East and North Africa. Then it continued and provided a solid ground for humanism and Renaissance in Europe. Furthermore, the new era in Europe, the post-medieval era, Arabs had significant influence and contribution in terms of mathematics, science, astronomy, and music, of course, always connected to it. So by promoting joint dimension, joint segments of culture, we trust that in modern epoch today, we could utilize music as not only as a tool, but as an artistic expression to remind the people on how much we have to share and how could we collaborating even more in the future. For that reason, and I'm particularly proud to report that Euro-Arab Youth Music Center contributed to the rebuilding or establishment of JMI members in Jordan, facilitating Lebanon as well, Cyprus, an island between three continents with historical ties with all this region, proud member of the European Union, also of the Commonwealth of Nations, by the way, but also a nation that is very close to the Arab neighbors, plays its role in this process and becomes a creative musical playground for young people wishing to get in touch with others, to share, to travel, to meet, to exchange, and so on.
And what has been the reception of the young musicians who actually end up meeting there?
Euro-Arab Youth Music Center runs several types of the projects. One of them is ethno, traditionally every year or every 2 years since 2005. And then we have another strand called Euro-Arab Youth Music Dialogues, where we bring either orchestras or ensembles for it is smaller event in terms of number of participants. It could be, let's say, a youth orchestra from Bremen, Germany, meeting with soloists on voice and oud from Jordan for a week time. Or we had chamber music ensembles with European instruments and Arabic instruments. They spend some time together, they exchange. Our projects are usually participants-led. We do not have, powerful or very influential artistic leadership. We trust that the new era is about participation, about genuine exchange, about diversity of styles, about diversity of instruments, approaches, and working methods. So usually as administration, we are always happy to provide everything necessary, the venues, food, practical arrangements, logistics, and then we leave to participants to develop the content and then probably promote the concerts, the outreach to the audience of Cyprus and, when possible, abroad as well.
Fantastic. And then your journey continued as your president of JMI.
Well, yes, I was elected in the board of JMI already in 2008, serving in the board for 4-5 years. Then I had a short break due to other professional obligations. And from General Assembly in China, I was elected again in the board 2019, vice president in 2021 in Brussels, and finally in Harare as JMI president, which is a great honor, of course. It is JMI as an organization with a tradition over 80 years is still youthful, still vibrant, I think bigger than ever in terms of the outreach, in terms of diversity of programs. So all this make me proud, but also I feel a responsibility to continue this path of the entire organization or global movement, as I like to say and feel about JMI. Right.
And if you look to the future, what do you hope that JMI will become, or what do you hope that your presidency will bring to JMI?
Well, presidency itself is just a part of joint collaborative work on several levels. JMI has diverse levels of governance, the board being composed of people from all continents. It has a rather strategic, political, representative and monitoring role. Then we have the office led by Executive Director Laszko Smilewski in Brussels, and a great team of professionals who are for a number of years with JMI, who deeply understand functioning of the organization. I'm happy to see a number of interns. For them, it is, I suppose, a great opportunity to understand how music and youth works globally. And then we have our national sections, which are diverse. Some of them are, let's say, established networks, national networks existing in many cities, even villages across European countries. Some of them are smaller, but nevertheless also contributing to the operations at global level. And then we have our programs, numerous programs, both central one, JMI programs like Ethno, JM, Jazz World Orchestra, we heard yesterday here in Balaton, then Young Audience Awards, and many others. But also every member section has its own programs, and this diversity, in many cases also with volunteers. Jeunesse Musicale in many cases works not only through professional staff, but also through a number of people that simply like the music, or young people trying to position themselves in the musical ecosystem. This is very important. Young professionals, cultural workers, so management level, and artists. So all this diversity also combined by a very, very wide range of the supporters, sponsors, contributors. Not even saying about the audience that we can outreach, makes this system of JMI, so from the board to the last volunteer in a small section, regional member, let's say, probably also to mention the associate members who are probably not branded always as Jeunesse Musicale, but they're on their own. They also contribute from the point of view of the diversity of the programs, like Babel Camp here in Balaton. I think all this system is growing, is developing, and I have no doubt that the bright future is waiting for the next generation of young musicians.
Yeah, I think that this is also JM's greatest strength. It's that incredible diversity across many countries, many projects, many different kind of perspectives. But it's also, I think, a big challenge. How do you stay connected to all of these different perspectives and players?
Well, it is also really a good question. And this actually emphasizes what I said. This organization is not only about one person being a president or director or even one entity like board of directors. This organization is about the complexity, because the world is complex, and understanding this complexity and managing it, we call it governance. Yes, with the flow from top down, promoting various trends, what is going on on the global stage, but for also being sensitive on the local priorities, national priorities, on the problems and challenges that young people are facing, particularly those one connected to music, as professionals, as workers or artists or simply audience. I think a great tradition of over 80 years of JMI give us an advantage and makes this organization absolutely unique in the institutionalized ways of the flow of information, people, knowledge, experience. And yes, there is a lot that we still have to learn, but there is a lot that we could teach others and share and collaborate with many other networks. We also collaborated with Transparency International, let's say, those civil sector organizations that are not into music very much, but still we have a common field of action, and developing further these creative synergies, I think, is one of the good ways. Let's mention the matters like gender equality, matters issues of migration, increased migration, that it is particularly Western world, but not only, is facing everywhere. Multiculturalism of our societies. Why not the challenges that the third age generation is facing, and this generational gap where young people are one part of issues of employment, of development, environmental policies, because finally JMI needs to lead, having a sense of the needs of young people for the future in order to leave the planet in as better condition as possible. All these issues are of high relevance, for not only for JMI, but for the entire world. Yes.
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you think are the challenges? But I think you just mentioned that. So maybe then the question should be, what do you think the role of music could be in solving these challenges?
Well, role of music is also complex in this. It is not only about the promotion, although music has ability to send the message. In JMI, we trust that music, understanding music, is a dialogue not only with others, but also with self. So through this mirroring culture, we are in position to kind of evaluate our own behavior on a personal level by comparing with others. And others could be of any kind. It is not about ethnicity, it's not about race, it's not about gender, it's not only about age. It is of any kind of difference. So music has ability to communicate, and such a complex world, as we said, needs the new ways of communication in general, not communication like only like email or phone or social media, but better understanding of self and of the others. So, and the music can do this in particular. And the component, the second leg of JMI, is youth. We see that technological revolution is bringing changes, and educational systems need to be adjusted, which they cannot always do easily. Usually the formal educational systems are not in every country highly adaptable to the needs. So the non-formal education, informal education, vocational education that JMI is part of and is one of the main focuses of the entire network and its members, is in principle the biggest, the strongest tool we have. All in order to proceed with a general positive change of the society, better cohesion, and so on. So youth and music and internationalism of every kind, a kind of extrovert operation, approaching the others, always thinking firstly about the others, who are the others, what the other side means, also has an impact on the peace process, which is also highly relevant for the period we are living in. And with all this mix of opinions, angles, target groups, JMI is indeed a unique organization and unique, I would say, phenomenon for the entire world.
Yeah, I agree. I have a different question, because I know that for many years you have been organizing these kind of events. You have started different initiatives now as a president. So maybe there's a wealth of experience when it comes to these kind of things. What do you think is, for other listeners that also, want to go and organize things, start projects, what are some of the greatest challenges you have faced in these times, and how did you overcome these?
Being a cultural worker without the background, educational background, because I used to be a musician, then I did a master in cultural management, but still management is something you can't really learn from the books. You have to practice this. And there are two challenges. The one is about the subject, because in the event organization, project design, development, you have to think and dream out the project, to envision the project, but you also have to find the money for it. So fundraising, the scrutiny in planning, and then you have to know a little bit of everything. And this is the second challenge. You have to change the hats every 5 minutes. So you are a little bit communicator, then you contribute, you make a press release, and then you are into financial management and invoices and taxes and legislations and regulations, regulative framework. So you have to know about music, at least general stuff, to understand what it is all about. So young practitioners are not always giving, sometimes they tend to give emphasis to one of these disciplines, these functions, and the biggest challenge is how to balance all of them, because whatever goes wrong, it has an impact on the entire project, on the entire event. Sometimes people are bringing greatest artists and so on, but they forget to promote, or they mess up with finances and so on. Cultural organizations, in general in Europe, are very small. There are over 1 million companies and associations in the cultural field, and in 99.96% of them work only 1 to 3 persons, which means that we have to build a kind of special skill, ability to manage everything. And I think this is something that we have to discuss also on the global level, because from one point of view, we would like high expertise in whatever we do. We need people who knows about technology, who knows about communication, who knows about finances, who knows about designing and fundraising, like project writing. But also, it is not easy to keep such a bunch of experts together for a longer term, so they have an impact on the institutional level. And I trust that the concept of JMI actually supports these polarities from both. So if we are about youth and music, and if we have a single communication policy or umbrella policies, and then we are able to attract talented people of any kind to not to work temporary, to give something to an institution, let's say national member section, or JMI, like a head office. And then even if they leave, there is an asset of knowledge, asset of experience, administrative asset, the processes, the policy documents, strategies, and so on. And this is nowadays very, very important. Otherwise, everyone is able just to jump from one field to another, and the entire capacity of the cultural ecosystem is lower in Europe than in many other countries. Yes. At the same time, particularly in Europe, we have higher potential of expression activities. The audience is probably highly educated, attendance at the concerts, and so on and so on. So these challenges, but we also should not neglect all other regions. JMI is very active in Africa, in South America, in Asia. Our members are some of the most recognized cultural organizations in their country, and all of them, they have particular challenges or frameworks or needs that need to be addressed. So JMI is also a platform for the dialogue and exchange of experience. So we should utilize this further in the future.
And on a personal level, how do you stay motivated and passionate about this field? Because I know it also sometimes has the potential to bring you down a bit.
Well, it is also regulated in JMI. I realized from the first years that yes, motivation is something that fluctuates. But as soon as you attend JMI events, my message would be to everyone to try to attend an international events. As soon as you meet people there for the second time and the third time, you will feel a part of the family. This is what happened to me, and this is what happened to Cyprus. After 20 years of continuous meetings, we always refresh, we hear something new, we have some free time, people that before were collaborators, but that they are now friends. And in this mixture, I can't find any better motivator than this. To see someone after 6 months or after 1 year, or in my case, after 7 years or 10 years, and then just to remember some anecdote or joke or funny happening or not so funny happening, and this fulfilling, it works like the energetic, like when you charge the batteries,
like a recharge.
Recharge for the next period.
I can vouch for that. I've been to a few JM events, and before you know it, you're recording a podcast. Wasn't the plan.
Another strength of JMI is that as a youth organization, it was never afraid of experimenting. If the member organization were proposing having sometimes online AGA, then it is fine, since it was approved by the majority of the members or the votes through the procedures that JMI have. We will certainly go with this option for a number of years, but since we are not doing something for tomorrow, we are building this house forever, and we will see how it works. Certainly, like any other event, it needs to be evaluated rightly from the point of view of environment, but also from the point of view of the impact, how people will be feeling energized or recharged after the online AGA is about to see. If they do, of course, then we continue. We even might move for online meetings if this is what our members wish. So we have to be open-minded. We should not be afraid of experimenting, and this is something that makes our organization stronger and better.
Very true. If people want to find out more information, let's say specifically about the Euro Arab Music Center, or if they want to connect with you personally, where do they find the website, or where do they find you?
Well, I think it is easier to go through the JMI.net website, and then they will easily find us as one of JMI programs, not members. I think my contacts, both personal and wide range of institutional contacts, are available on the internet. In any case, president@jmi.net should be working as an email.
As always, the very last question: what is the power of music?
Well, the power of music is to break the borders of any kind. First of all, the personal borders, which means recognizing the others and otherness as a value. And this dialogue between self and others is something that only music can make. And the second one has to do with expression. not only recognizing the others, but also trying to contribute to the advancement of the others by proposing. Music is two-way road, so it is a highway. Two-way road is the power of music.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricardo, for this invitation. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for listening. If you want more information about JM, or you would like to get involved, visit www.jmi.net. At JMI, we are on a mission to make the world more musical. That's why we created Mubazar, a digital platform that helps us manage all our musical activities across 80 countries worldwide, connecting musicians with opportunities to grow both personally and professionally. If you are a music professional looking for a better way to manage and promote your music activities, check out Mubazar. Created for music organisers by music organisers, Mubazar allows you to run music competitions, workshops, camps, auditions, masterclasses, awards, events, and much more. Mubazar offers custom application forms, payments for your activities, jury tools, translations, analytics, and more. Mubazar is fast becoming the best place for musicians to find and apply for music opportunities online, and you can sign up today for a free organizer account by going to www.mubazar.com, registering, and then requesting to upgrade to an organizer on the right-hand menu. For more info, don't hesitate to get in touch via support@mubazar.com. It would mean a lot to us if you could give us 1 minute of your time and rate and review the podcast. In case you have any suggestions or would like to be one of our next guests, feel free to reach out to us through the JMI socials.